And you get into Washington, D.C., and what do we see here? This is extremely important. But if you take a look, here is the Illuminati pyramid. The capital of the United States is at the top of the eye of the pyramid. You see the separation. And Jordan, go on and explain that.
Yes, the obelisk, you'll see the Egyptian obelisk here. The Egyptian obelisk points up to the top of the triangle or the top of the pyramid. We're talking about occultic forces. We're talking about the five-pointed pentagram, which was used by satanic worshipers for thousands of years. If you take the 5 points off of a five-pointed star or a pentagram, you have left in the middle a pentagon. That's why the United States has a pentagon. The pentagon is directed toward the North Star because according to the ancient Babylonians, that's where you gathered power from the gods of the North in war. We're talking about sex, drugs, rock and roll, violence. We're talking about a concerted effort to manipulate the human beings of this country into a new order and a new world, and the people are going along with it, docile, and have nothing.
And if we take a look at the map of Washington, D.C., here's the White House at the top of the pentagram, the same satanic seal on the first church of Satan. The configuration was laid out, and of course we have the goat of Mendes also.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who taught me this truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakah Kodash. The CIA tried to weaponize black magic, declassified. This is Job 9:24, and it reads, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he, right? So these are the inner workings of darkness, the evil forces that rule over us. Okay, let's get into it.
Operation Often was initiated around 1967 and 1968 by Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, head of the CIA's Technical Services Division, as part of the agency's Cold War efforts to investigate unconventional methods for intelligent gathering, behavioral manipulation, and psychological warfare. Often was a successor or parallel to MK Ultra, which famously tested LSD and other drugs on unwitting subjects, but it shifted focus toward the esoteric and supernatural. The program's official mandate, per declassified memos, was to, quote, explore the world of black magic and, quote, harness the forces of darkness, end quote, to determine if occult forces could be weaponized for operational use, such as influencing minds, predicting events, or disrupting enemies. It challenged the idea that the inner reaches of the mind are beyond reach, blending pharmacology with mysticism. Testing occurred at facilities including hospitals, prisons, and universities, often involving animal and human subjects. Recruitment of occult practitioners, CIA operatives, including Gottlieb, consulted and recruited a wide array of individuals such as fortune tellers, palm readers, clairvoyants, astrologers, mediums, psychics, demonologists, witches, warlocks, and Satanists. These consultations aimed to test whether rituals, spells, or invocations could produce verifiable effects, like inducing hallucinations, altering behavior, or gaining intelligence insights.
Yeah, this is true spiritual warfare, man. All right, this is what we're up against, the left hand, okay? Ephesians 6:10. And it reads, it says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Everything he was reading, it was all the wiles of the devil. All right, the witchcraft, the sorcery, the manipulation of the mind. All right, them, communing with witches and warlocks, sorcerers. All right, this whole idea of black magic being used against the people, man. Okay, this is the system that we're involved in. All right, this whole system, as we saw in the intro, is built off Satanism, man. Okay, it's an anti-Messiah system. Okay? That you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, right? Against spiritual wickedness in high places, right? So this is what this is all about. Okay, you got the feds that try to weaponize black magic against the people, man, and this is what's going on now anyway. All right, anything that's pushed from the higher ups, it's all witchcraft. Okay, it's all high level sorcery, man. Okay, this is a dark, demonic world that we live in, man. Okay, but this is all part of the war that we're up against, right? NLT, Ephesians 6:12, NLT says, for we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in heavenly places, right? So this is all part of this this whole entire, conglomerate of what makes up this this governmental system, man. It's all built upon the foundation of it all goes back to Satan, man. Satanism, witchcraft, the left hand. You see?
Consultations aimed to test whether rituals, spells, or invocations could produce verifiable effects, like inducing hallucinations, altering behavior, or gaining intelligence insights.
Smart founders know some.
Just let that pass.
Crazy.
Like inducing hallucinations, altering behavior, or gaining intelligence insights.
How crazy is what you just read? Like, it's not unheard of for the time, but where we're sitting right now, like, we were trying to weaponize the inner mind.
Yes, and so the point that I was going to get to is, in the mindset that everything is war, the intelligence, the intelligence apparatus was willing to investigate dark magic, black magic, occult power, consulting Satanists, consulting these dark rituals to see if they could weaponize it. And of course, who knows what ended up happening to that. Eventually the program was stopped, but
yeah, like you said, the mindset is everything is war. All right? And maybe think of Psalm 140. Okay? This is all warfare against the people. Right? Prayer for protection against the wicked. Psalms 140:1. And it reads, it says, deliver me, O Lord, Yahabashim Yahushai, from the evil man. All right? We talked about that the other day. All right? Dealing with Kill Gates. Okay? He said that the next demic will get everybody's attention, man. This is the evil and wicked man. All right? There's no denying it. It says, deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war, right? As he said, the mindset of these devils is always war. All right? Psychological manipulation. All right? Consulting with witches and warlocks. All right? Fortune tellers. Okay? Which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Hey, the fact that they tried to weaponize black magic tells you everything, man. Okay? And look how much that's going on today. All right, with the rituals, all right, the sacrifices, all right, the things that they're openly, revealing to the public. Okay? All this information that the elites have been doing. Okay? It says Psalm 140:2, excuse me, Psalm 140:2, which imagine mischiefs in the heart, continually are they gathered together for war. Right? They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent, adder's poison is under their lips. Salah. Keep me, O Lord, Yahabashim Yahushai, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings, all right? And what he's reading, in this video here is all part of that. Okay, the snares and traps, right? The proud have hit a snare for me in cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me, Salah. See? This is crazy shit here, man. You know?
They were, the intelligence, you know, the intelligence apparatus was willing to investigate dark magic, black magic, occult power, consulting Satanists, consulting these dark rituals to see if they could weaponize it. And of course, who knows what ended up happening to that. Eventually the program was stopped, but maybe, you know, did it continue? Did they find some success? There's obviously, like, you know, circles within circles of what gets continually classified or not shared. I don't know how that system works. You probably know better than me. But one way or another, they were testing the dark forces. But where is the idea to test, like, what happens if we actually test the light forces, the angelic forces, the power of God, to actually unify people and to help them make better decisions? It just seems like this is because of the mindset, which is everything is war. We, including, you know, just speaking broadly for the U.S. and our intelligence apparatus, we were willing to test these occult magical practices, which are highly disruptive to the brain. You start tapping into this, you play on the dark side. From all of my psychedelic plant medicine experiences, it's highly confusing and disruptive.
That's what he's about. He's the man of confusion. It's all about war. Okay, as it said, he talked about how about using, the light and righteousness and all of that. It's not in his spirit. Okay, he's the wicked. Habakkuk 2:4, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. See? But the just shall live by his faith. NLT, look at the proud. They trust in themselves, and their lives are crooked. But the righteous will live by their faithfulness to the Most High. Yeah, so he is the wicked. His spirit is not upright. Isaiah 26 and 10. Yeah, Isaiah 26 and 10. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. He can't. Okay, he was created to be the wicked, man. Okay, in the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly. He will not behold the majesty of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, so it's not a righteous bone in his body. Was the point. Okay, and this weaponization of black magic is all part of the sword that he's been blessed with. Okay, that's his power. Revelation 6 and 4, and there went out another horse that was red, all right, and this is tied back to Esau Edom, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword, and that sword, it goes back to his blessing, man. Okay, so part of that sword is his rituals. Okay, the dark magic, the witchcraft, the left hand. It's all tied into that.
You have to be very mindful, if you actually start to engage with, like, the dark side of the Force, to use like a Star Wars term. Like, it's not something to be trifled with, nor something that anybody who has any sense even messes with. But because everybody also knows there's the light side, and that's actually where you can find your own personal fulfillment, and you can also provide massive healing. What seems to be necessary is a fundamental shift. Like, okay, if we're willing to test, the powers of these dark forces for war, what about the powers of goodness and love and beauty and truth? What effect will that have on a population if we want our
The truth is not in them.
Population to actually thrive? It seems like we're at a place where if we're willing to test the darkness, we got to test the light, and we got to actually see what that experiment, how that might run. And even Israel, like, what would have happened if they took this, as a horrible atrocity, what happened to them. I mean, unspeakable things happened, and hostages were taken, etc. And they've gone on the course that they've gone on. But as Charles Eisenstein points to, what would have happened if they just said, this horrible thing happened, and this is the state of the world. We have to do something about it. And we forgive, those that have transgressed us in these horrible ways, but we trust in God and love to actually heal. Like, what would have changed and rippled through the world? But that's not in the game theory strategy of our powers. The game theory of, trusting love, God, beauty, goodness.
If you haven't discovered your natural...
Just let that pass. So again, these are the evil forces that rule over the planet, man. Just let this pass real quick. Bear with me. Let's see where we at. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull it back. There we go.
Be an option it would just be laughed out of probably the cabinet meetings or whatever the meetings are that occur. But that must be a part of how we're going about this, because we really need some miracles here, and we need to actually start trusting that there's benevolent allies, not just witches, warlocks, and Satanists, that there's actually benevolent allies that are on our side, and we need their fucking help.
So, I mean, I love what you're saying, and I can see the path that you're laying out. But the reality is that where the path that you're laying out, when it meets the pragmatism of economic theory, because economic theory is what drives state behavior. The two are fundamentally opposed. If you think about the foundation of economics is that everything is limited. There is a lack of sufficient resources to go around. Whereas to believe in God is to believe in abundance, that there's a surplus of resources to go along. You have to have faith in the resources you can't see, where in economics you have to count the resources that you can see. So even when we talk about Operation Often, it makes complete sense to me as a CIA officer that they would invest in a way of weaponizing the limited resources of individuals who may already be in touch with the inner mind. Because if you can gain that advantage, then you have all of those resources before your enemies, your current enemies have them, and also before your future enemies have them. So now that creates an abundance of resources that you control, that you can use to limit access to resources for your current and future enemies. That's how the national security infrastructure works. That's why Israel, when they have to choose between forgiveness and conflict, they choose conflict. Because they choose conflict not only because they're counting current resources, but they want to reduce resources for future threats as well, which is why you saw them escalate from just being a war against Hamas to being a war against Hezbollah, to being a war against the Houthis, to being a war against Iran, to invading Syria. You could see how they just continued to escalate because there was always an economic justification for reducing your future enemies.
Yeah, but that's who they are, though. You see, he's the wicked, man. He can't, scripture say he can't be satisfied, all right? Let's go back to Habakkuk. As we read in Revelation 6 and 4, all right? He was blessed with that sword. All right, all he knows is war. Okay? He's the man of violence. Right? Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also, because he transgressed by wine. And who is he? Esau, Edom. Right? Because he transgressed by wine, these wicked philosophies, right, that he pushes. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. All right? He's everywhere. Who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. This is why, what does he do? He uses the sword. He wars all over the world, man. All right? Plundering nations, stealing resources, oppressing people, But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And I got to bring this out. We always bring this out when we go to the scripture here. But it says he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Right? Neither keepeth at home. All right, straight to the lexicon, right? It says in the lexicon here, it says Habakkuk 2:5, he's a proud man and does not rest, but seeks disturbances and wars. All right? This is what he's talking about. Okay, he's not going to stop. Okay, it's in him to rape, rob, and murder. All right, pillage and unalive people, man. Nations. He has the power. Micah 2:1. Right? Woe to oppressors. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. See? And they covet fields and take them by violence. Wars, right? In houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even the man in his heritage, right? This is his spirit. This is who he is. Okay?
The reason the United States is involved in supporting Ukraine, they understand that supporting Ukraine is a future play to continue to reduce Russia and Russia's impact in the future by letting Ukrainians die instead of American citizens die, which we have a more open acceptance for, because when you count the number of lives economically, there's a different valuation through the eyes of the American government of an American life versus a Ukrainian life.
There's that famous quote, I believe it's Einstein, who says you can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness it was created. We're at that point.
That's fair.
We cannot solve this problem at the consciousness of scarcity. And, this is a classic Rosicrucian, contest between the Ahrimanic forces. So Ahriman was the great reducer. It was the only thing that's real is that which can be counted, that which can be measured. Everything else doesn't exist. And then there's the Christos, the Christ energy, which is everything is abundant, equal in love, and filled with the infinite love of the divine, right? So it's the radical, unconditional love and forgiveness, and the things that can't be counted. And they're both kind of two sides of a polarity that exists. And so we're in this very Ahrimanic world, and all of the problems of the Ahrimanic world, of the reductionism to that which can be counted, is creating this problem. I believe, have to shift the level of consciousness to see the world from a different place. Now, that transition, I'm not going to be Pollyannish and say that's going to be easy, nor is it going to be easy for just one country to do it while the other countries are still playing the other game. It's difficult. I don't have the plan for how to deploy this, but the vision of shifting our consciousness to solve the problem at a different level seems to be the only way out of this mess.
And I think that what we're agreeing on so much here, it's really exciting to me, because we're both agreeing that the future is going to be difficult. It's unclear. It's going to take work, and it's going to take an uncomfortable amount of work and risk, just like you're saying, to pursue the Christos energy and or to answer the policy questions about how we're going to defend ourselves. Both of those have incredible parallels to them. But what's fascinating to me is that the hunt for that abundant energy, the hunt to find that thread or that light, that hunt is actively being pursued, not just by the very wealthy and the people who are leaving the United States and diversifying their bets, right? I'm on that journey to find that energy myself. And there are plenty of people who are in a different economic level who are also on the search, all across the spectrum on that search. It makes me wonder whether or not there is a collective point where the pendulum shifts, where there's enough people who believe in it that somebody does take, or some organized group of people, whether it's a country or whether it's an organization or whether it's a movement, where they take the step to actually change the direction that we're on, where they make an offer. They even cross out of out of spirituality and into politics to try to make a political shift that is driven by spirituality.
Yes, the bottom line is that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is the only solution. Okay? The Lord is the one that's going to take this man down. All right? To remove him from power. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, and we'll wrap this up. All right? The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6. All right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, and it reads, verse 1, it says, Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand them. Learn ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Give ear, ye that rule the people, in the glory and the multitude of nations. Right? So the Lord is directing this message to the kings of the earth, the people who rule this current world. Right? It says, For power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels. And this is what's going on now, man. All the secret counsels of the wicked are being searched out. They're being found out and exposed. Right? Because being ministers of his kingdom, you have not judged aright, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of the Most High. Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you. For a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places, as we just read in Ephesians 6 and 12. All right, spiritual wickedness in high places. So the Lord said, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. Though, like I said, the only solution is Yahweh Shai. He's the one that's going to make it right. All right, when he removes these devils from power, okay, and destroys this current system that's ruling the earth. Okay, for mercy will soon pardon the meanest, but mighty men should be mightily tormented. Right? It says, For he which is Lord over all shall fear no man's person, neither shall he stand in awe of any man's greatness. For he hath made the small and great, and care for all alike. But a sore trial shall come upon the mighty. See that? The Most High is going to get rid of these damn devils, man. They're going to fall. Right? So that's the point, man. You know, just wanted to just add on to the point that, again, these are the inner workings of darkness, man. Right? Job 10 and 21, before I go, once I shall not return even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death. That's America. All right? Babylon. A land of darkness as darkness itself. And of the shadow of death, without any order. Without any order, where light is as darkness. That's this place, man. Okay, the land of darkness, the shadow of death. All right? The feds tried to weaponize black magic, and this is what they continue to do today. It didn't stop. You know? So again, Yahweh Shai is the only solution. Psalms 97, let me get that real quick. Psalm 97 and 10. Right? Psalm 97 and 10, ye that love the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, hate evil. Okay, so it's a righteous thing to hate evil. Ye that love the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked. See that? NLT. You who love the Lord hate evil. He protects the lives of his godly people and rescues them from the power of the wicked. There you go, man. All right, Yahweh Shai is the only way. All right? So with that, shalom to the next one. Shalom.